Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the KindHuman Cycling Show. I am your host, Gavin, and today we're going to continue our conversation with Elise Yanover, who's an exceptionally good physiotherapist, and we're going to continue the conversation where we left off talking about foam rollers. So enjoy the show today.
Okay, so now we'll go through how to foam roll. And this one I love for upper back. The foam roller for your upper back is awesome. You can just feel everything release and kind of crack as you go there. So I think I'm best to do it sideways. And just tell me if you can see me okay.
If you can go maybe back on your mat.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I put the foam roll so it's perpendicular to my back. And then hands on your head to support it, lift your bum up and just roll along your upper back. And if you have anybody in your house, they can hear it cracking, you just go, oh, that feels so good. So that's how you do upper back, just going back and forth. Really slowly I do this one, and because you can feel all the joints and muscles getting nice and yeah, and if you spend a lot of time at a desk, that's a really good one for that.
So is this about stretching, or is this about strength, or is it both?
So this is about stretching. This is about maintaining flexibility.
Okay.
Okay. For your quads, the front of your thigh. This one feels the best for foam roller. Foam roller goes under your quads and then on your elbows, and then you're just going to roll up and down on the front of your legs. And again, in terms of foam rolling, time-wise, I don't really put a time limit. I just kind of do it till I feel like I'm getting some loosening or it gets uncomfortable, because you can over foam roll, particularly calf muscles. A lot of people go, I've been foam rolling and it's killing. Well, you got to stop foam rolling because you're foam rolling too much. So there is too much that you can do, but probably your whole body, you can get it done in about 5 to 10 minutes. Okay?
And is this
so you don't want to overdo it.
Are you stretching the muscle itself, or is it the actual foam roller that's pressing against the muscle?
Yeah, the foam roller, the idea of the foam roller is to loosen up what's called the fascia, so the actual tissue of the muscle and the covering over the muscle. The muscles have a covering over them, and sometimes muscles get tight because the covering gets adheres to the muscle, and you don't get that dissociation. So the idea of foam rolling was to be like a really good fascial relief, to release the muscle and the sort of saran wrap that goes over the muscle.
And is this something you do in addition to stretching instead of, or how does that work?
So there are definitely people that swear by their foam roller, do it a ton. I have to say, when I was a runner, every evening I would sit and watch my favorite show and I would foam roll. I've done it less as a cyclist. I feel like my injury capacity is less, but if I feel a tight area, like my AT band was tight, or I've done a hard ride and my quads are killing or something like that, I'll get on and do it. So I wouldn't do it instead of stretching. I would do it as an addition to stretching, or I would do it for certain muscles like that band on the side of your leg, the IT band, which is kind of harder to stretch.
Gotcha.
So that's when I did it. Or if you have, I have a client today I was talking to, she has a disc injury in her back and she can't do flexion exercises. So hamstring stretching isn't a great idea. But, being on the foam roller for a minute and doing your hamstrings like this, even though it's a bit flexed, it's not the same as bending over, right, and doing a hamstring stretch. So I'm just rolling back and forth on my hamstrings. And if you want to make any single leg thing feel harder, you cross one leg over the leg that you're rolling and you do it that way. And particularly for the calf, I feel this way more in my hamstring than double leg. I think I need to start foam rolling more. I love demonstrating to a client, like, oh, good. So that, and same for the calves. I can do my calves. Okay, I do that, and I lift up and roll my calves along. And foam rollers can be various size and various levels of torture. This one has all kinds of knobs on it. It's a lot crueler than just your flat, one that you get from the gym. That's kind of a wimpy foam roller. And then single leg, you're going to cross one over the other and do it that way.
So is it the knobs that are getting into the fascia?
Oh, kills way more, yeah. That's way more.
And then
It's really
is
for
big
every muscle except, yeah, go ahead.
it as far as size goes? What's the if
No, it
somebody's
doesn't
going to
make a
buy
difference.
one? Okay.
Doesn't make a difference. I used to have a big one and I switched to this one and I can do it. It's more compact if you want to travel or whatever, but it's just more compact. Your body, again, if you're like a really bigger person, maybe you'd want a bigger one to spread out on, but for the most part, people's body parts can fit on this side. So I teed in when I was talking about that band that runs alongside the outside of your leg. You talk to anybody that's had it and they're told to foam roll it, it's like absolute torture. So you go on your side, on your arm, and you slide up and down all the way down to your knee. You don't necessarily want to go over the bony parts on anything you're foam rolling. You want to stay away from the bony prominences. And then you go up, and yeah, it's like, have you done this, Gavin?
I have not.
Oh God, I'm gonna bring it in for you. You can try it. So the higher you get up, it's a lot less uncomfortable. The mid portion, which is generally the tightest portion, is, and so with this one, I will probably do about 5 passes. I don't do a lot more than that because it hurts.
Okay.
Okay.
And that if somebody's looking to buy a foam roller, are there different qualities? How much do they cost you?
So this one I got on Amazon. I think it was about $28. They used to be a lot more expensive, like the brand of I forget what it's called, Thera something, Trigger Point or something like that. Like if you buy it from one of those big companies, but nowadays, Winner sells them, Amazon sells them. I usually go by the reviews if I'm going to buy something online. I use the reviews, and so it has a good review, and you don't have to spend like I said, this one was definitely under $30, and it's very sturdy.
Awesome.
The straight foam, just like you've seen them as most people at the gym, it's just that squishy foam. It's not, I would go with something that's a bit harder. You don't have to go so cruel and knobby, but when you're doing on the knobs too, you can also, you don't have to roll along. You can just focus in on a particular area. So if I'm going to do, let's say, my quads, I can just roll back and forth a little bit on this. I don't have to go all the way up and down if I want to stay away from the really hard parts. This one has various levels of torture. You can just stay on the flatter part as opposed to using those, those knobs.
Okay, so then the flatter part is going to be more comfortable?
Yes.
Do the knobby parts give you a better result?
Not necessarily. Again, you can over foam roll, so that's the knobby part.
Yeah.
And that's the flat part. So it's foam rolling has to be a total, like stretching too, a total comfort, thing. You don't want to overdo it, because I know of people that have gotten injured or made their injuries a lot worse from foam rolling.
So then how do you tell if you're overdoing it?
Oh, it'll kill. It'll hurt. If your pain is more, right, it's not no pain, no gain. If you're doing a stretch and you're into pain and not stretch, like let's say you have an Achilles tendon problem, so tendon on the back part of your ankle, and you're stretching your calf to get at that. If you feel that stretch in your Achilles, you're probably not helping your Achilles problem. You want to feel it in your calf. Okay, if you're stretching your quad, the front of your thigh, because you've got a quad issue, if it's painful as opposed to feeling like a stretch, like we know what a stretch feels like, and we know what maybe we shouldn't necessarily be doing that feels like, you want to stay away from that. And in that case, sometimes foam rollers can come in handy. If a stretch hurts, you can do some gentle foam rolling if that feels better than pulling at a muscle, because depending on what's wrong with it, stretching sometimes can create more problems than less.
Okay, so what you're saying, is if you're feeling pain, bring it back a bit. So
or back off on the stretch, or self massage. A lot of body parts we can reach. We don't necessarily always need to run to the professional. You can reach your quad, get in there with a little bit of cream, and massage that tender area for a little bit and see how that feels too.